Hello and welcome to a very special installment of Talking Trash. This time around, I'm not going to be just covering one movie, but I'm going to be covering three. Specifically, Deathstalkers 2, 3, and 4. Now before we get started, if you haven't seen my Deathstalker 1 review, there will be a link somewhere on screen. I recommend you go and watch that before watching this one, because I'm going to be using that to compare these ones to it a lot, if that makes sense. We do have a lot to cover with this video, so I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Let's jump straight into our first movie, Deathstalker 2.
I'll have my revenge, and Deathstalker 2.
Straight off the bat, we've got a new director this time, Jim Wynorski. Now, I know him from directing Chopping Mall, but some of you may know him from directing The Blair Witch Project, The Breastford Wives, The Witches of Brestwick, Busty Cops, Book of Babes, Blair Witch 2, or A Doggone Christmas. We've also got a new Deathstalker, and the whole time I was watching the movie, I was trying to place him. I was trying to think, I've seen this guy somewhere. Where do I recognize this guy? And that's when I realized that he's the handsome guy that's the first one to die in Chopping Mall.
That's it, I don't need this crap!
The plot of this movie is very similar to the first one, especially like at a basic level. There's an evil wizard that's taken over this kingdom, and the ruler of that kingdom that got taken over is coming to Deathstalker saying, hey, how about you help us? And Deathstalker's helping them. That's the basic plot of both of the movies, so on paper they're the same, but if you look at the weirdness of this one, it's like a completely different film. I really like the first Deathstalker. It has great fighting, great sets, but the acting and writing is pretty boring, and there's nothing that adventurous happening in it, or creative happening in it. Whereas in Deathstalker 2, the sets are kind of garbage, and the action is kind of meh, but the writing and creativity in it really stands out. A perfect example is the differences between the two Deathstalkers themselves. The first Deathstalker is basically just muscles. He has no personality, nothing going on. He's just brooding muscle. You know, he's basically Conan the Barbarian. Whereas in Deathstalker 2, this guy is way more charismatic and sarcastic and funny. And I don't know, I can just really tell that the actor was having a good time, like, playing the role, which, I don't know, that means something to me, and I think that shines through in the film. The plot of this movie starts when Deathstalker sees this peasant girl getting harassed by the guards of the kingdom, saying that, you know, she's not welcome here and that for whatever reason she needs to leave. And so Deathstalker, without knowing why this lady isn't allowed inside the walls of the kingdom or what crime she may have committed or at all what her life story is, decides, you know what I need to do? I need to intervene and start a bar fight.
You, princess! I thought we told you to get out of town.
This is a really good time to bring up the sets. I said earlier that I think the sets were bad, and I think that this perfectly showcases it. Especially when you compare it to the first one with that great like dungeon set where everyone's just fighting and swinging from the ceiling and it's crazy and epic. And in this one, the level of quality of this, to me, it looks like a medieval themed family restaurant that hasn't been updated since like 1995. That's like the level of care and time and money that went into this thing. So Deathstalker and the peasant lady try to make a run from the bar, and when they're getting chased through the woods, they end up exchanging names.
I'm Evie!
Deathstalker!
Deathstalker? That's your first name or your last name?
Deathstalker and Amy just kind of lose them in the woods. It's really weird. So we fade out and we fade back in, and I'm assuming it's the next morning and we're at Deathstalker's tent, and we learn some vital character information about Amy.
Here, try it. It's my specialty.
Oh, your specialty, huh?
Like it?
Good. Very good. Got some water, too, please.
Her cooking blows! Also, we learn that she's able to tell someone's future.
Spirits of tomorrow, hear my call.
I want to keep that to a minimum.
I am in love with his little reactions. I love that he just has something sassy to say about everything.
I see you embarking on a heroic quest. It shall become legend, and storytellers shall recount your many exploits down through the ages.
Well, I sure hope they get my name right.
A princess.
A princess. Is she rich?
She's calling to you. Help me. Help me, Deathstalker. Only you can save me.
She's in trouble?
Oh, big trouble. A matter of life or death.
Why? What?
I see someone else. Dark and evil. This is bad. This is real bad. The princess is being imprisoned by Jarek, an evil sorcerer.
Are there any other kind?
Yeah, I feel like that perfectly sets up our plot and character motivation. We understand that the girl wants this kingdom saved from the evil wizard, so she's getting Deathstalker, and we understand that Deathstalker wants the fame, money, and glory that comes with saving the kingdom. That's perfect, and we don't really have that in the first one. The king comes up to Deathstalker and is like, "Hey, Deathstalker, you should save our kingdom." And then Deathstalker's like, nah fam, that shit's cringe. And then the very next scene, he's just on the quest to save the kingdom. We don't know what he gets out of, we don't know what he wants, he's just doing it.
Well, that settles it then. I'm out of here.
Where you going?
Let's go. Not getting any younger, you know.
We cut to the evil wizard Jarek, who is doing some sword training in his castle, and we learned that Amy is the princess she was talking about in her vision.
Me? A princess?
And that Jarek, the evil wizard, has created an evil clone of her and named it Evie, and then married it to trick the people of the kingdom into thinking that now he was king so he could take over the castle. And then I guess he just cast Amy out of the castle?
Evie, darling, we've gone over this a dozen times before. I created you from the original soul of the princess, an exact duplicate in all respects. Unfortunately, I haven't had time to work out the bugs. In other words, if she dies, you die. But once I've made a few minor adjustments in the formula, I can duplicate anyone, then eliminate the original. Now, my dear, please run along. These brief practice sessions are the only leisure I allow myself. And I enjoy them so much more alone.
We cut back and Deathstalker and Amy are on their way to the castle.
Which way?
The West Road.
You sure?
Absolutely. The crystal ball never lets me down. The West Road.
Okay. West Road it is.
The man in the trees. You guys see him too, right? We learn that Tree Man is the head of this, like, mercenary group that Jarek has hired to kill Deathstalker before he can reach the castle.
The butchers to do it. Say hello to Crazy Otto Rheingold, the Mad Prussian, solely responsible for the Lemurian massacres that killed hundreds and left thousands homeless. I'm sure you recognize Ed the Hedge Shamansky, 5 years on the Genghis Khan strike force, part-time consultant to Attila the Hun. Next, John the Baptist Bombasso, drowning's a specialty. Beside him, Nick the Crippler of Kashmir. I think his name says it all. And last but not least, the real find, Buddy Footstool Rosa, only recently dismissed by Ivan the Terrible for excessive brutality.
Their plan is to wait until Deathstalker is riding through this quarry and then just fire explosive arrows at him.
Okay, men, let him have it. Close, men, but don't kill, not yet.
Of course, Deathstalker just ends up killing them all one by one. They have to play that noise every chance they get.
Throw your sword down, or I'll cut her pretty little throat.
Go ahead. Cut it.
You were gonna let him kill me!
Now would I do a thing like that?
She is the worst. She's the absolute worst. Like, her acting is so terrible, and I think it's especially bad compared to him because I feel like he's killing it. Next, they end up running into this Halloween set that's supposed to be a graveyard with a tomb in it, and they end up fighting these zombies that Jarek resurrected, I guess, and it's kind of just boring and a bad set. But the next adventure is my favorite adventure.
Just follow the road to Bagot, turn west at a tree that looks like a rock, where you cross a dry riverbed where the water is most shallow.
What? Dry rip?
Just follow the mountains.
Okay. Ain't gonna be any zombies or anything, are there?
It's a clear road. No surprises.
No surprises.
No surprises.
No surprises? Some oracle you turned out to be.
3 out of 4's not bad.
Why I oughta.
So Amy and Deathstalker end up getting captured by these Amazonian warrior women, and they end up informing us that Deathstalker is infamous throughout the land for his womanizing, and now he must pay for his crimes.
Your legend precedes you. Your exploits as a womanizer are well known in these parts.
Well, I am more of a lover than a fighter.
I hope not.
Huh?
You'll be put on trial for your crimes against womanhood.
Trial?
Trial?
Trial!
They give him a trial by combat, but it isn't some pussy sword fight trial by combat like in some Game of Thrones shit. No, it's some WWE level wrestling stuff. I wasn't kidding, they have a full-blown wrestling ring for them to fight in. Of course, our boy wins the fight, and afterwards the queen of the Amazonians tries to seduce Deathstalker and get him to marry her, but the second the M-word is thrown out, our boy bolts.
Tomorrow, my servant will awaken us at dawn.
You gotta be kidding. After that fight, I was kind of looking forward to sleeping in.
Oh no, that's not possible. The ceremony traditionally is performed at daybreak.
Ceremony? What ceremony?
Our wedding ceremony.
While he was being seduced, Amy ends up getting captured by Jarek's men and brought back to the castle.
I don't suppose you guys are hunters and I stepped into your bear trap. Shh, no, I didn't think so.
This is where the movie becomes kind of boring and predictable. I mean, Deathstalker travels to the castle, breaks in, saves the girl, fucks the evil clone, kills Jarek, and saves the day. Oh no, you heard me right. Deathstalker fucks the evil clone, and then Amy is chill with it. In fact, I would go so far as to say that she's flattered by it.
I thought I told you not to hang around with girls like that.
It was just her looks that got to me.
Oh, well in that case...
There's a pretty lame sword fight between Jarek and Deathstalker. Amy and him end up kissing, and everyone lives happily ever after. The end. Deathstalker 2 is a lot of fun. It shows its budget really bad, but I think the writing is creative, the ideas are fun, it has this self-awareness that I think the first one is missing. And ultimately, I think that if you could take the stuff that the first movie did well, and you could take the stuff that this movie did well, and put them together, I think you would have a perfect movie. So next up we have Deathstalker 3. Let's see if it's able to learn from its predecessors. I hated this one. I hated watching this one, but I can't necessarily say it was the movie's fault itself. You see, Deathstalker 1 and 2 were both on Amazon Prime, so I was able to get pretty good quality versions of them to watch, and it was overall fine. But I wasn't able to find this one, and the only form of it I was able to find anywhere that wasn't a VHS was just a rip on YouTube, and it was the lowest possible quality you can imagine, and initially the audio was off by about 5 seconds, which is fine, I could deal with that. But as the movie went on, it progressively got further and further away until eventually an action would happen, and then 2 minutes later you would hear the action. It was horrible.
Deathstalker, no!
The third stone!
So because of all of this, because of the bad visuals, because of the bad audio, I had a really hard time understanding it, and it was almost experimental, but fortunately it was actually a really simple plot. Evil wizard takes over kingdom, big surprise, and then Deathstalker gets invited by the people who used to hold the kingdom to come and kill the evil wizard for glory and money. So it's the first two. Again, yeah, it's the first one again, and second one again, except this Deathstalker sucks. It's the new guy, and he sucks. I don't care for him. He's not charismatic, he's not muscled, he's got nothing. He's the middle of the road of both, and he's just boring. I hate him. I don't know, man. This one really sucks. It was just so uninteresting. There was only 2 good times that I laughed at it, and so I'll explain those, I guess. So, the basic plot of the movie is that evil wizard takes over kingdom, has 1/2 of crystal, right? And he needs the other half of the crystal because then he gets the ultimate power, right? So this wizard has it, and he gives it to Deathstalker and says, hey Deathstalker, I need you to go and kill this guy, put the things together, it'll give you the power, and then you're good. So it's basically the plot of the first one again. But so the soldiers come to the wizard because they know he has the stone, and they go, hey, fucking give us the stone. And instead of giving it to him or just dying, he...
Myself! Protect the girl! Get the wizard! Heavens! Yes!
Yeah, he turns into a fucking Beyblade and teleports away, I guess. And when that happened, I laughed because it's such a funny looking visual. I was just like, oh, that's a weird way to do that, and then I moved on, you know? The rest of the movie goes on, like an hour passes. We're at the end of the movie. We've captured Deathstalker. The bad guys have captured Deathstalker. They have the second piece of the stone, and they put it together and they go, fuck, there's a surprise third piece that we don't know where it is. And they're like, and Deathstalker doesn't know. And the princess who got Deathstalker to come here and fight us doesn't know. If only we knew where that wizard teleported to. And literally the next frame is the wizard Beyblading into the room. It's so fucking funny, because like I said, like an hour of movie has passed and we haven't seen this guy, and like in movie time, like a week has passed. So was he just in limbo? Did he mean to come here a week later? How does this magic work that this is where you ended up and this is when you ended up? It makes no sense to me, and it's the only time I laughed. Deathstalker 3 sucks, and I'm moving on to Deathstalker 4. This one is probably the most middle of the road one. There's nothing in it that's bad enough to warrant it being so bad it's good, and there's nothing in it good enough to warrant it just being a good movie, so it just kind of ends up being okay. The action is fine, the acting's fine, the writing's fine, the sets are fine, so at the end of the day, it's just kind of meh. It's way better than the third one, but still not as good as the first two. Before we get into it though, it's the same thing as the third one. I wasn't on Amazon Prime, and it wasn't anywhere I could find. Actually, the only version I could find that I could buy was a DVD version that was charged at $164.95. I'm sorry, I'm not spending almost $200 to watch a subpar movie. The YouTube rip I found is pretty good. It's not as bad as the other one. The visuals are fine, the audio's fine, it's all synced up and good, which is great, but it does have like Spanish subtitles on it. So I wish they weren't there, but unfortunately I couldn't find another version, so whenever I show clips, that's what you'll see. Sorry. This one, again, is just the exact same plot as all the other ones, except this time it has a huge twist. The twist being that the evil wizard king is now an evil witch queen. Pretty sweet. The plot is just the first one and the second one meshed together. We have a princess pretending to be a common fighter peasant girl who is like, hey Deathstalker, you should come and do this thing for glory and money. And Deathstalker's like, cool, I'll do it. But what they're going to do isn't just to kill her, it's the queen is holding a tournament to invite all the fighters so she can kill them all. And Deathstalker is sort of sneaking in under the guise that he's a part of that, but really he doesn't give a shit. The movie opens with some narration that shows that the kingdom was recently at war, and that Deathstalker actually fought in it with one of his friends. And so during the fighting of the war, I guess at some point Deathstalker and the friend got their swords swapped. And so Deathstalker's whole reason for wanting to go to the tournament is that he knows that his friend is going to be there and he wants to get his sword back.
Things got a little confusing. He wound up with my sword and I with his. You know what I might find him?
Far away, I'm afraid.
On the way there, Deathstalker meets this muscled up bro.
45, 46, 47, 48, 49.
Does he know someone's stolen his girl?
50.
Don't you know better than to break in when a man's practicing?
We learn that Muscles has been training for this tournament his entire life.
He's training, my friend. This is Vaniat, the great warrior.
He must work up quite an appetite.
I mean to win a tournament.
Then quit standing there.
And him and Deathstalker decide that they're going to travel to the tournament together. They run into these ladies being attacked, and despite Deathstalker intervening, every single one of them dies except one.
Your friend fought bravely.
My sister. We were on our way to the castle. She had meant to fight in the tournament there. Now I will fight in her place.
You know what I love about these movies? There's no time for any bullshit, right? Deathstalker and this lady meet, barely speak a word to each other, we fade in and fade out, and they're on the road to the tournament together. We arrive at the tournament and we see that a lot of the soldiers are really drunk. Deathstalker's running around looking for his friend, but this guy informs him that he saw him getting really drunk the night before and that he's probably just sleeping in his chambers.
Looking for Aldalar. Have you seen him?
I saw him last night at the banquet. Boy, could he hold the wine. Probably still sleeping it off.
We get a montage of fighting that is just full of shots from the first Deathstalker.
Very few warriors had the privilege of fighting in Kana's private courtyard. Most challengers faced off by the outer castle walls for the entertainment of the local peasants.
Deathstalker starts exploring the castle because he's real suspicious as to what's going on and to why he can't find his friend, and he ends up finding all these weird statues around the castle. And also he learns that the evil witch queen is using poison in the wine to make the men like extremely drunk so that she can fuck them and kill them or something. Deathstalker and the lady realize that the queen is also drinking the wine, so they figure there must be some sort of antidote that she has, and so they send Muscles to pretend to be drunk so that he can be seduced by her and figure out what the cure is. We actually get this in a pretty fun scene where we realize that he's literally spent his entire life training for this, so he hasn't ever been drunk, he hasn't ever, tried to get girls, he hasn't ever, really developed any social skills, he just knows how to fight, and so we get like a little cute training scene.
And you're not pleading with Kana to take you. You're giving her the good fortune of being your choice.
Oh. Sure. Yeah. After all, I am a great athlete, and I am pretty good looking. She'll never know it hit her.
We find out that she isn't actually killing the soldiers, and she's just turning them into those statues that Deathstalker found, and then now she can control them, I guess?
Caught between a rock and a hard place.
Thank you, Stonehead.
Muscles finds the antidote and they give it to the statues and all the soldiers at the place, and slowly but surely they're broken from the spell or poison, and they turn on the queen, and Deathstalker saves the day.
You're beautiful. You're charming. You're certainly a pleasure to be with, but you're just not my type.
To us.
After the wine you just drank, you may live forever. As a statue.
My potion is stronger than the wine.
We've got your potion.
My power's not gone yet!
Right.
Maybe I just got bored with the series over time, or maybe because 3 was so bad it like shook me to my core, but I was really disappointed with this one. I wanted it to be the best one, but it ended up being the most meh. I like having more bits and shitty jokes, but honestly with the last two, I got nothing out of it except a couple things here and there. The first Deathstalker has this gritty quality to it, you know, like I've said a million times, the sets are great, you know. Deathstalker isn't a good guy, he's more of like an anti-hero in that one. You can tell in the first one that everyone was trying their best to make the best movie they could, and it really shines through, and that's why that one's cool. The second one is cheap looking, but goofy and creative, and the charmingness of that Deathstalker really carries the film for me, and I actually really enjoy that one a lot. The third one is bland with a boring, unoriginal story, a terrible Deathstalker, and overall is just unfun to watch. The fourth one's fine. I think that if it came out in a theater somewhere and I saw it, I'd be like, yeah, that belongs in a theater, it's whatever, you know. It's not great, but it's not bad either. It's just, That's really all I have to say on these movies. I hope that you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please be sure to leave the video a like, as it helps me and the channel out tremendously, and I would really appreciate it. If you want to see more, be sure to check out the rest of the Talking Trash playlist, which should be linked somewhere right about now. And if you want to see more and get notified when I upload, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss a video. I started a subreddit for the show, which is currently just a place where I'm secondarily uploading these videos to, so you can go and check that out. It's a place where anyone can start discussions about movies. You can, find all the other movies there. If we get enough activity on there, I'll probably use that as a way to poll what Talking Trash movie you guys want me to talk about next. Speaking of that, if you do have a movie recommendation that you would like to see me review, leave that down in the comments below. I read every comment I get, and if you've made it this far and you want to comment but you can't think of something to write, I have no idea what to write, and then I will reply to every single comment that does that with a unique original compliment based on your username and profile picture alone. That is going to do it for this one, though. I hope that you guys did enjoy watching it. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
You got yourself in a tailspin. It's going round and going down. and get yourself in a tailspin.